Good evening everybody, this is Lara from Pure Elliott Wave. I am going to update my Elliott Wave count and technical analysis for Solana US dollar pair for you. This video format's going to be different. I'm going to actually do the Elliott Wave count with you after I've updated the data. My Cryptocompare connection to MotiveWave doesn't provide data for Solana, so I have to import it manually. I've already downloaded the file from Yahoo Finance, that's where I'm getting this data from. I just have to make sure that the symbol here is exactly the same as the symbol up here. So backslash, not a dash. And there we go, it's doing exactly as I expected, and it's doing it really well. Go Solana. No wonder you guys wanted me to update that. So, well, that's the update to the weekly chart. Actually, I think we can move the invalidation point up. And let's get an acceleration channel on this third wave. So from the end of 1 to the last high, parallel copy on the end of 2. As price keeps going higher, you keep redrawing the acceleration channel, and eventually when the third wave is complete, the lower edge may show where the fourth wave may find support, and intermediate 4 may not move into wave 1 price territory below 30.056795. This candlestick here, a little bit of a concern with a bit of a bearish upper wick. That could be resolved now by a couple of weeks downward movement though. Volume starting to return to the market. That's exactly what you'd expect to see for a third wave. So not as strong as it was in the beginning, but Solana's doing really well. So good to see volume returning to these markets now. Get some free giveaways today to help you with your technical analysis. Click on the link below to go to my website and you can download one or more of these 3 giveaways. I have an ebook on technical analysis basics for you. These are the contents of the ebook, several chapters on some basics, some indicators, some techniques, looking at gaps, looking at scale for your charts, and I've even got 2 steps to a high probability trade set up there for you. Another free giveaway is this easy candlestick pattern guide to the major candlestick reversal patterns, bullish and bearish, diagrams, descriptions of how they should be read and in what context. And a third giveaway, I have this Elliott Wave structure guide, 3 pages giving you all of the Elliott Wave structures with all of the rules you need to know and diagrams of the ideal form for each. Motive structures on 1 page and all of the corrective structures on 2 pages. So click on the link below and get any one or all of these 3 giveaways for free. So let's update the daily analysis together. I'm just going to make the channel the same on both charts. I've just moved all my labels out of the way. Now let's get this updated. I think I want to see a triangle over here, although I'm just checking, has C moved below A? I'm going to see actually a first wave over here and a second wave unfolding, but this triangle, no, that's not valid because C has moved slightly beyond the end of A, so that's going to change how I see this 5th wave. I think maybe 4 was over here as some kind of combination, but I think I want to put it over here. So let's do this again. Let's get some labels in here for minuet 5. Oh, is it not going to subdivide as an impulse? Is it going to be a diagonal still? MotiveWave says, nope, you can't do that either. Well, let's see about that. Oh no, of course, because 2 moves beyond 1, so it has to start there. So leading expanding diagonal. I don't really like the look of it too much, but okay, I'll leave that at that. Okay, so I'm just going to see this 4th wave as maybe a combination, maybe a flat in here, X, and then a zigzag, so it's moved sideways to end at this low here. So I want to see minor wave 1 over here and not a 4th wave within the next impulse, because when I go back to the weekly time frame, I don't want to see intermediate wave 3 over here, because if that's the case, it would only be about 6.5 times length of intermediate 1, which is good for a normal market, but for a cryptocurrency, that'd be a pretty short middle of a 3rd wave. I'm expecting intermediate 3 to be a really long extension because it's a 3rd wave within a big 3rd wave within a big 3rd wave. It's a nested at 3 degrees big wave. And the other problem is, I don't think the middle of cycle wave 3 has passed while price is still within cycle wave 1 price territory. Cycle 3 has to move beyond the end of cycle 1, and it has to move far enough above 1 to then allow cycle 4 to unfold and remain above first wave price territory. And the middle of cycle 3 is probably not going to pass until it's moved above the end of cycle 1, or it's pretty close. I don't think the middle of it was way back down here. That's just too soon. So I think that this is best labelled as minor 1 and 2 within intermediate 3. I'm going to leave the invalidation point here because minor 2 is not going to get anywhere near this. If it finds support down at this trend line, it would be remarkably deep. I don't think it's going to even get that deep. So I think we might look for the log function of the 0.236 Fibonacci ratio for minor 2, or maybe the log function, the 0.382 Fibonacci ratio. So yeah, that's my conclusion. A little pullback for minor 2 and then a third wave up at minor, intermediate, primary and cycle, 4 big degrees waiting in the wings. Now before I go with the Elliott wave count, the last thing is I can't see a complete corrective structure for the second wave. It can be any corrective structure except a triangle. Let's try a single zigzag. I'll show you what I mean by I don't see it as complete. The problem here is C subdivides as a 3-wave structure. Now there could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's possible. Could be like that, but I think I'd rather have it looking a bit more obvious. Let's try a multiple. No, now W doesn't really look like a 3 very well. It could be A, B, C. I mean, that could fit, but I think it should look a bit more obvious than that. When corrections are unfolding, you really need to not try and identify which structure is unfolding to try and identify all the little moves within it. The best approach to corrections of this degree is to try and identify when they're complete and the larger trend is going to resume with a breakout. So if you can get that right, then you can anticipate the breakout before it happens, and that's the edge Elliott wave can give you during corrections. So I can't see a corrective structure complete yet for minor 2, so I'm expecting a little bit more of a pullback. I would, if I were looking at this on a daily basis, be trying to every day see, can I see a complete Elliott wave corrective structure in there? But in order to do that, you really need to know your Elliott wave rules, and you need to have a bit of experience. You really need to know what you're doing. This is the hardest part of Elliott wave because there's so many different corrective structures possible. And that leads me into reminding you that next week I'm going to have a sale of my online course for 48 hours. If you really want to learn Elliott wave, that's what I've designed it for people who learn by video. And I've got some very interesting kinesthetic exercises in there for people who learn by physically doing that. No one, have never seen anyone else try and teach Elliott wave this way, and it's one of them particularly is pretty powerful, and a lot of people have told me it really helped them understand Elliott wave. So that's coming up on sale next week. I'll announce it on this channel. Let's get into some technicals. The target from the head and shoulders pattern was about 52. That's been met and passed, so that's no longer in play. Price found pretty good resistance, about 118, and it's reacting down there. There's a little bit of free fall area here. Look out for support about 50 if it gets that low. It doesn't have to, but that's the next strong area of support. If price can break above resistance, look out for a back test of support before moving up and away. Volume returning to push price higher. A spike in volume at the high, which closed red for the week. So unsurprising, we're getting a little bit of a reaction. This looks like just a normal pullback within an ongoing upward trend. No new signal from on-balance volume. It gave us a bullish signal way back here, which was in October last year, and that has probably been played out now. ADX tells us there's an upward trend. It's very extreme, but not as extreme as it can get for Solana. We might be seeing pullbacks or consolidations that are a little bit more time consuming to relieve these extreme conditions before it makes new all-time highs. If it makes new all-time highs, I expect energy to be released to the upside, and I expect after that pullbacks and consolidations to become more brief and shallow, volatility, volume and momentum to strongly increase to the upside. RSI is fairly deeply overbought, but there's no bearish divergence. Money flow reached overbought as well, no bearish divergence. Stochastics returned to neutral. Let's use a channel on RSI. Let's expect that if RSI comes back up to touch this upper trend line, that could again initiate a pullback or a consolidation to relieve extreme conditions. A quick look at the daily time frame, some resistance just below 120 and now a pullback and consolidation. I don't see a short-term continuation pattern here though. I see a dark cloud cover here. I see a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern here at the low for the 8th of January. That could be resolved by a little bit of a bounce but this low remains intact. So while the low for the 8th of January remains intact, it's possible the bullish run could already be resuming for Solana. If this low is taken out, then revert to my Elliott Wave count, the Fibonacci retracement levels. After strong volume up to the high, overall volume is declining as price is having a pullback. That's normal behaviour. At this time frame, our ADX told us the upward trend reached very extreme. It was waning at the high. Now it's setting itself up for another strong signal. If we see this consolidation or pullback last another week or two and ADX gets below the 15 level on the daily time frame, it's setting itself up for a really strong signal. Have we had a signal like that before from Solana? Yeah, here we are. Back in September 2023, back in here is when ADX gave a really strong bullish signal on the daily. Back in here, it came from below 15, which is a relatively low level, and it rose up from below both DX lines, reaches 15 with a positive slope. The positive DX line is on top, so ADX at this point here tells us there is an upward trend in a very early stage, and that was perfect. What a great signal. We might be getting a setup for that signal again. Keep watching that one. At the daily time frame, RSI exhibited bearish divergence at that high. Now it's neutral, plenty of room to go again for a new trend to develop at this time frame. Money flow also neutral, did not exhibit bearish divergence. Again, plenty of room to go for a new trend to develop. Just need to wait for that pullback or consolidation to end. Use those Fibonacci retracement levels on the daily chart. And when you can see a complete Elliott Wave corrective structure for that second wave, then expect the upward trend to resume. Thanks everyone for your support. I hope everyone's having a really lovely evening.